Welcome to Brain Thunder, where we interview millennial entrepreneurs, founders, scientists, commentators, and everything in between, here to inspire and educate. With me today, I have Dreier, who is the founder and president of the Arts Club, which is a company that brings people together to learn about, discuss, and create art. They host hundreds of events every single year and bring together thousands of people. Jackie, welcome.
Thank you. It's so nice to be here.
Of course. So you're obviously a very successful founder, and I'd love to hear a little bit more about your motivation on starting Arts Club. What was it that led you to say, I want to create something for people, a space for people to come in and explore what art means and what it does and how it affects people?
Yeah, so I've worked in the fine arts industry since I was a teenager, and I've always been really inspired by the conversations that people have when art is involved, especially conversations they wouldn't be having otherwise. So my motivation was to create an organization that was all about bringing people together to make new connections, come up with new ideas, get to know each other on a more intimate basis through the process of learning about and creating artwork together. So not about, how much art you can buy or how much you know, but just about facilitating new connections.
What was it that you were doing before Arts Club? Because I know you had a bit of a different...
Yeah, I worked in auction houses, art fairs, and galleries since I was about 16 years old. So I've been doing it for really as long as I can remember having any kind of job or interest.
Yeah.
I worked at Christie's when I was in college as an intern and afterwards for Sotheby's. Hopped around a few of the art fairs and ended up managing a gallery on the Upper East Side.
How was that?
Oh, it was so great. I learned so much. But again, I was just so passionate about the conversations that people were having and being able to engage with people in that way.
It is a scary step to be a founder and to be an entrepreneur and start something of your own. And of course, you've had incredible experience, working with auction houses, a few big names. But there's nothing quite like starting your own thing. I want to understand a little bit more, what was the relationship between expectation and reality? What it was you were expecting the journey to be like as a founder versus how it actually was when you sat down and you're like, okay, we're getting this done?
That's a good question. When I started Arts Club, I had a lot of ideas about how I wanted to execute my mission. And really, it was just a journey of trying things out and seeing what worked. So I tried out all different kinds of formats of events to bring people together, from gallery crawls to museum field trips. Our first ever event was a field trip to Storm King, where we got a school bus and packed lunches. It was really fun. And about 6 months in, some people that had been coming to my events started asking me to do team building events. And that was a big game changer because I had never heard of team building events before. I never worked at a company that did anything like that. So learning that there was all of this potential to bring people together at companies and get to know their colleagues through this process was really interesting. So I'd say just starting out and seeing what stuck and what direction people were most interested in was the
most important, getting that feedback, it sounds like.
Exactly.
And you gotta listen to your audience, because those are the people that will, come in and day out, or month in and month out, and make it work for you in the long run. So that's totally the direction. I want to talk a little bit more about the pandemic and how that affected you guys, because team building, exercises, events, things like that, a little difficult during COVID. So how do you guys navigate that?
Wow, the pandemic was an absolute roller coaster for Arts Club. We had just started getting things really off the ground before COVID, got our first really big corporate events. We're getting really good momentum in terms of, engagement with the public on our weekend events. And during COVID, of course, everything canceled and everything stopped. So that was really hard. Fortunately, very quickly, we created these box sets that we would send people to do virtual events.
You told me this before, but I think that's an exceptional idea. Did you come up with it?
I did come up with it, and it was all designed before COVID even started. So we were able to just get it off the ground really quickly. And the virtual events during COVID, when people were looking for things to do at home, things to do with their hands, to create art together.
It gave them something to do.
It gave them something to do and a way to connect with other people virtually while doing something physically. And it was really successful. So, at first, of course, COVID hit and it was like a disaster.
Yeah, but then we had the box
it was
kids.
like better than ever.
I love this. Yeah.
And when things finally went back in person, we were able to open up not just in New York where we were before, but in these other cities where people were already engaging with us virtually.
Like
person. LA and DC to start.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, well, nice. And we're going to talk about expansion in a little bit. Say I come to an event at the Arts Club. What does it look like? What should I expect? I want to hear more about that.
So we have a few different types of events, but our most popular events are our studio nights.
Oh, nice.
And the way these work is you pick a famous artist that you're interested in learning about. Like, who's your favorite artist? Or one
Picasso.
you like? Okay, Picasso. Perfect. So you would learn about Picasso, and instead of copying, one of his portraits, you would learn about his inspiration, how he created his portraits, why he made certain decisions. And then you'd be able to incorporate that into your own painting. So you'd be able to then get all the materials Picasso would use and create your own portrait or self-portrait of yourself or someone that you care about or inspired by in his style.
So I basically follow his style.
Exactly.
What
but
if
you
I
make
want to
it
do
your own.
Botticelli?
Well, we really do only modern and contemporary.
What is the feedback that you get from people? They come to the events, it's something obviously very new. I've never done something like this before. I really want to do it. What do they say to you? What do they take away from it?
Yeah, I think people really surprise themselves. A lot of people come in and are like, oh, I haven't created art since I was really young, or I have no artistic talent. And in the end, they're just really surprised by themselves and the experience that they were able to have expressing themselves and getting to know other people through the process. I always tell people, even if you throw away your artwork, it doesn't even matter. It's just about the experience.
I've done a few arts events in London. I'm not sure if you know those types of almost painting exercises where you just go with someone and they teach you how to paint. Would that be similar, or do I have to be completely on my own and just kind of see where my artistic talent or thereof takes me?
So we don't like copying at Arts Club because we want it to be about expressing who you are and how you're feeling.
I love that.
But we do give a lot of guidance. So we have professional artists there that will say hey, you're making a Mark Rothko style painting. How are you feeling and what kind of colors would express that? And let me help you make those colors. And,
I like that.
Being able to guide you through the process rather than tell you
exactly what to do. Okay, great. Well, I'm going to definitely try it and see what I come up with. I want to hear a little bit, a few tips that you have for female founders. I've spoken to a lot of female founders through Brain Thunder, and the story is always the same. It is lonely, it is a big risk, and it's really difficult to find female mentorship. What is your experience?
I think the main two things that come to mind would be, one, to try to find community. It's always so helpful to know other founders and people that are going through similar situations or obstacles, or celebrate your successes with other people too.
Yeah.
I found a really great community when I was starting out called the Startup Leadership Program. They take about 30 new fellows every year in all different industries who are all starting their first business.
Oh, wow.
So you meet so many different people, from fashion designers to literally rocket scientists.
That is incredible.
It's really cool. It's men and women, but it was so helpful to have that kind of support. The second piece of advice I would say is just to take everybody's advice with a grain of salt, because everybody wants to tell you what you should do. And at the end of the day, it's really nice to get advice from people, but you have to trust yourself and know when to take advice and when to not.
And I guess it comes from all directions as well. So you don't quite know how much of it to trust and how much of it, the other person actually knows about in terms of a specific industry. And the industry you're in is pretty, specific in itself. And obviously you have so much knowledge in it. You've worked in different things before, but around that kind of same arena. So at the end of the day, it's what you say about trusting your gut. Is that the best advice?
I think so. Especially as a female founder, I think people always want to tell you what they think that you should do. I don't know if men get that quite as much, but
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Do you have female mentors more than male mentors? Or what has been your experience with that? Competitiveness? What has been your experience with mentorship in your field?
So I wouldn't say that I necessarily have female or male mentors more than one another, or I'm not even really sure I can think of one specific person that I would call my mentor right now, but just community, you know, and people that support each other. And sometimes those people are much further along in their journey than I am, and sometimes they're just starting out, but it's nice to feel like you're in it with other people.
I think it makes such a difference because I was interviewing another founder who, you know, his startup is specifically focused around building community for founders because he had created a Facebook group. I'm talking about Michael Meyer, who was the founder of Entree, a social network for entrepreneurs, and he was getting started as a Facebook group, and he was getting so many messages from founders asking advice from the practical to the emotional, from, you know, fundraising to how to get through the uncertainty of building something by myself, having quit my job, etc., etc. And it's all about what you said. It's about creating that community, having that safe space where you can turn around and say, this is what I'm building. I know you're building maybe something different, but can we chat about X, Y, and Z? And it may not come down to the most practical of advice because they may be in a different industry. You may trust your gut at the end of the day, but it is that level of camaraderie that I think really does make a difference. And I'm glad you spoke about it. What is the biggest difficulty that you have found, like running your own thing? And how does it differ from like working in the past in that same industry? Yes, but of course not really running your own company.
That's a good question. I think having a sounding board is so important. You know, you make so many really important decisions, whether it's to sign a lease on a really long-term space that you want to get to expand to, or, you know, how events should be priced or formatted, or whether you should hire this new employee or that one or both of them. So I think that having people that you trust to talk to is really important. But like I said, at the end of the day, you have to trust yourself the most, and that can sometimes be hard.
100%. And how do you see, when you think about expanding?
This past summer, we did 2 pop-ups, summer pop-up spaces.
Nice.
Which was our first step at really expanding physically to new cities.
Whereabouts?
So we did LA and DC.
Oh, nice, yes.
They both went really, really well, and we're actually opening a permanent space in DC. So we're just in the process of figuring out where that space will be exactly.
Congratulations.
But that's an exciting new step, and then checking out some of our next pop-ups, maybe in Chicago and Philadelphia.
Oh, amazing. So expansion all over big states.
That's what we're going for.
Maybe internationally too. Who knows?
Someday, maybe London. It's on my radar.
Yes, I lived in London for 8 years. So
I lived in London too.
That's super interesting. No, I mean, I love what it is that you're doing. It's the first that I hear of it, and I think it does make for a great team building exercise. Is there a certain type of industry, like law firms or, you know, banks or people that, you know, visit the arts club? Like, do you see a little bit of more of one of the industries more than the others?
Is there something you would guess?
I think probably law firms.
Yeah.
And like, you know, and banks, because they need this team building and they need something creative just because, well, truth be told, most of the day it's not the most creative of jobs.
So we've done events for a really wide range of industries, from fashion companies like Chanel and Levi's. We've done Peloton, Google, LinkedIn, the list goes on. But still our biggest customers are law firms. Law firm summer associate programs. We've done events for more than half the firms in the AmLaw 100, and
they love their team building.
They love it, and they're so much fun to have. They're so enthusiastic and really intellectually driven. So they're excited about learning. I love lawyers. Everyone in my family is lawyers.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Great. I love that. Well, thank you for your time today. I really, really enjoyed our interview and getting to know Arts Club better, and I think you're very, very inspiring, and I can't wait to see what the future holds.
Thanks so much. I can't wait to see what your Picasso looks like.
Thank you all. Please like and subscribe, and we'll have more content soon. Thank you.
It's that new age, ain't it something special? Yeah, we gon' change the game, we gon' live forever. Yeah, it's that new age, it's that new age.